For action to approve the engagement letter with the law firm of Palacios, Garza, and Thompson, P.C. Any discussion? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes, Madam President, attached in your folder towards the very back, I think it's the last 3 pages, if I'm not mistaken, the last 3 pages of your handout has the letter of engagement for legal services from Mr. Palacios, Rick Palacios, Garza, and Thompson, attorneys at law. And I'm here, Mr. Palacios is present along with Mrs. Chris Palacios. And if the board has any questions regarding any of their, I asked Mr. Palacios to maybe give you some highlights as you're going through the contract so that the board can be very clear on some of the main things on the contract. Is my understanding in visiting with Mr. Palacios, he is the attorney for the city of Edinburgh. And
That's correct.
So right now, I did ask him before the meeting, Madam President, to give us some highlights of his contract.
Mr. Palacios?
If I may, Madam President and the rest of the board, first of all, I want to thank you for allowing us to serve you. We look forward to providing these legal services for you. For this board, I do want to point out a couple of things. We're not strangers to this community. We've provided legal services to the city of San Juan on a couple of occasions before. We're also taxpayers here in this city. As you may not know, but we are stakeholders or interest holders in what used to be the Days Inn Hotel, which is now San Juan, and then we're negotiating with Roadways. So we like to consider San Juan a home, so we've been here for quite some time. So again, on this letter of engagement, I do want to point out a few things. Obviously, it lists services that we could provide to the EDC. It's not limited to that, but we did do a general summation of what we could provide for the city. There is a litigation, our non-litigation rate. We don't foresee the EDC going into any litigation. Typically, they don't. But we have a non-litigation service rate for $175 an hour. Paralegals at $80. What I want to mention about that rate is that we bill that rate at 0.10 of an hour, and 0.10 is 6 minutes. So I guess to better explain that, if we work 3 minutes, we don't bill an hour for those 3 minutes. We bill at a 0.10 of an hour. So if it's the least that we would bill would be 6 minutes if we worked on something. So that other firms will bill at 0.25 an hour or 0.50 an hour, but we reduce our breakup time. We break it up at 0.10 of an hour. Also, I'd like to mention that we do invoice on the 30th day. We do give detailed billing, so you will get a date. You will also get a description of work that was done and the amount of time that was spent and actually which lawyer actually worked it out. So we don't send you a one-page service bill that just has the blanket number for hours worked and an amount for that. We actually will let you know exactly what was done and when it was done. Okay? The other thing I'd like to mention is that the agreement is left, it's open-ended. It is this board's, if the board chooses to give us a term, it's up to you guys. It could be 1, 2, or 3 years, or 1 year with additional renewals. What I do want to remind this board is that I recommend, because I've done it with all other entities, is that we have a 30-day out with or without cause. We strongly believe that a board or a client should have the right to choose their lawyer at any time, either to continue with them or to let them go. And so, as your counsel, we would advise that a 30-day no fault with or without cause be included in our contract. This is a board that could change next month or next year, and so different board, different preferences. So we do want to make sure that the board is not locked into a 1-year contract or anything like that. We can be released we're here to work for you when you want us to work at your discretion, and we advise that if you do consider a contract that we have a 30-day out without cause clause on there. And we're here to answer any other questions. As far as experience, I know that I've shared some of that with some of you that are here tonight. But for you and the community, I've been doing governmental representation personally myself for about 12 years now. In the firm, we have 6 lawyers. Of the 6 lawyers, I think we have combined experience offering legal services to governmental entities at about maybe 25 years combined experience. To the right of me, I have Chris Eldo Palacios. As you know, lawyers can practice in all different areas, and a lot of lawyers practice in 10 or 12 different areas throughout their profession. I can tell you that at least Chris Eldo Palacios, all she's done since she's received her license is offer legal services for governmental entities. So she does this 24/7. Again, myself, I've done this for quite some time, but we're in a unique situation where the amount of work that we have, I can dedicate one lawyer in the office that does nothing but governmental representation. So I also wanted to let the board know that. And here to answer any questions or concerns. If the board wishes to enter into this engagement letter, if the motion could, to complete the engagement letter, if the motion would include a term, and also the recommendation that I made that it also have a 30-day with or without cause clause on there. That way you guys can exercise whenever you want, basically.
Is there a motion or discussion from the board?
What, a one-year contract or?
It's up to us.
It's up to you. It could be a 1 year with a 1 year renewal. A lot of the reasons that we do an engagement letter is because when we're dealing with governmental entities, if there's not a contract, we'll have difficulty we have to forward these to finance, and then obviously they have to make sure that they have an engagement agreement. You can do a 1 year. You could do a 1 year with a 1 year additional term. It's up to you all. But please be advised that we are recommending that the contract have a 30-day no fault without cause clause on there. So it really doesn't matter if it's a 1 year or not. If 30 days from now or tomorrow, you could basically issue out a notice of termination if that's what you wanted to do.
Have anything that states that all contracts are 1 year?
No, sir, that is as per city charter, is what we have, but it can be.
And that way it covers us to where everything's going well, we know that we still got the services, if we're, just since we had in discussion. But, yeah, I think it would work great if we could do that 1 year with the way it was discussed. And then, but of course, also keep that clause for the 30-day.
So a 1 year with a 1 year rollover, Mr. Garcia? Madam President, before we move, I just wanted to add one thing. Mr. Palacios, we were talking before the meeting. One thing he did want to bring to my attention is that wherever he can save us money, he will. I'll let you explain.
And I forgot to mention that in other jurisdictions, we have a commitment to the client that we first use as much as we can the city staff, because city staff is already on the payroll. Aside from that, if city staff cannot do the work or complete the task, then we will try to do it with a paralegal, which obviously, if you look at the engagement letter, the paralegal rate is at $80. And as a last resort, if obviously city staff or the paralegal cannot conduct that task or work, then that's when the lawyer is engaged. And so we do that, obviously, to minimize the billing, to minimize the legal services as best we can. So that's the basic framework of how we handle not only other clients, but how we want to handle this client. You know, first use city staff, then a paralegal, and if we can't do it that way, then the lawyer will get involved, so that way we can try to minimize your legal expenses.
Questions from the board? If not, I entertain a motion.
For a 1 year and what you call a renewal, additional 1 year? with the 30-day without cost,
Yeah, a 30-day without cause clause, that's right.
without cost clause.
Been a motion, is there a second? It's been seconded by Ms. Barrientos, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Welcome,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Palacios.
Thank you.
So we go now to the last item, the adjournment. Do I? Oh, we need to.
Oh, yeah, yeah, the excuse.
Go.
I so move that we excuse the missing officers.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Rodriguez, seconded by Mr. Garcia. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So now we go to the last, I entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
Been motioned by Ms. Barrientos. So
Second.
Second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. It's been adjourned at 7:56.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you.